coral viewing area. Just like to run over some things for your safety and comfort. First of all, guys, we do have 3 emergency exits on board. So one at each end of the semi-submarine. Just head up those ladders and away you go. And also, of course, there is the way you came in. Now, guys, we do also have life jackets upstairs in a locker. If they are needed today, the crew will hand those out to you. Dad will be needing those ones today. So more importantly, guys, just above your left shoulder, we do have seasick bags. Guys, if you are feeling a little bit seasick today, feeling the motion of the ocean, take one of those. Guys, I do suggest head upstairs. You will feel much better up there, the nice wind up there. Now, guys, enough about seasickness. Just above your right shoulder, we do have fish cards. Now, folks, we do have about 1,500 different species of fish reported to be living out here in the Great Barrier Reef. Unfortunately, guys, we're not going to be spotting all of those, but these cards there will help you with the more common ones that we may see today. Now, guys, for those of you that do have cameras, and guys, if you would like to take photos, nice handy tip, hold your camera nice and close to that glass. Do take the flash off, or you may end up taking a photo of yourself today. But folks, in the meantime, I'm just going to pop on a CD for you to listen to. That does tell you all about the Great Barrier Reef and what we do have to offer around here at Green Island. Now, at the end of that CD, guys, we will be at a fish feeding area. And we'll turn off the CD then and talk to you a little bit about all the fish that we will be seeing in that area. So, guys, if you do have any questions throughout the trip, also feel free to ask at any time. But like I said, I'll pop on that CD for you now to listen to. Are you feeling okay? If you're not feeling well, probably best to head upstairs.
Welcome to the Great Barrier Reef World Heritage Area. Today we are visiting Green Island Reef. It is one of more than 2,900 individual reefs that make up the Great Barrier Reef. Fringing reefs, patch reefs and ribbon reefs. Green Island Reef is a patch reef. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest reef structure in the world. In fact, it is visible from the moon. The only other structure on Earth that can be seen from the moon is the Great Wall of China. The Great Barrier Reef is over 2,300 kilometres long, stretching from above the northern tip of Australia down to Bundaberg in southern Queensland. For our overseas visitors, this is approximately the length of the entire Japanese island chain, or from Seattle to Los Angeles in the USA. It has a huge area of over 35 million hectares. That's the equivalent of over 70 million football fields. Although where we are today is only a very small part of the Great Barrier Reef, we will see many of the things that make the Great Barrier Reef so special, such as the high diversity of corals and fish. You might think that some of the things that you are looking at underwater are rocks, but they are not. They are hard corals. Hard corals form the basis of the reef. There are over 300 different types of hard corals. Their scientific names are very difficult to say, so we generally refer to them by what they look like. The large rock corals are called boulder or massive corals. The ones with a pattern that looks like the surface of a brain are called brain corals, while the ones with round holes all over their surface are called honeycomb corals because they look a bit like a beehive honeycomb. The branching corals that form large patches are called staghorn corals because they look like deer antlers. The flat, plate-like corals that you see are called plate corals. Table corals are bigger than plate corals and grow on a thick pedestal. They can be several meters in diameter. Staghorn and plate corals grow a lot faster than boulder corals. Some staghorn types can grow nearly 30 centimeters or a foot in a year, whereas typical boulder corals only grow about 2 millimeters or less than a quarter of an inch each year. You will notice some places on the reef with a lot of broken staghorn coral on the bottom. This is part of the natural cycle on the reef. Storms, waves and currents naturally break apart corals, and branching corals break easier than boulder corals because their skeletons are less dense. This broken coral, however, is a good thing. It fills the gaps and crevices in the reef and helps build the overall reef structure that we see today. No matter what shape they are, all hard corals are structurally similar. They are colonies of individual animals called coral polyps. Coral polyps are related to jellyfish and actually look a bit like an upside-down jellyfish. The polyp's soft body sits inside a limestone cup that it secretes around itself for protection. The size of the polyp depends on the type of coral. They can be smaller than a pinhead or larger than your fingernail. The coral colonies that we are looking at are made up of many polyps. Some large colonies are estimated to have over 1 million individual coral polyps. Hard corals play several very important roles on the reef. Firstly, they create the overall reef structure of the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef, in turn, is an important erosion barrier for the Queensland coast. It breaks up the force of oceanic waves and currents. Secondly, when corals die, they leave behind their limestone skeleton, which over time breaks down to form the beautiful white sand that you see here on the reef. In fact, broken pieces of coral, shells, and other marine life formed Green Island. Hard corals are not the only types of coral on the reef. There are also 150 different types of soft corals. Soft corals, as their name implies, do not have hard external skeletons like hard corals. Instead, they have thousands of tiny sharp pieces of limestone inside their soft tissue. These are called spicules. These spicules provide support to the soft tissue as well as fend off predators. Imagine trying to eat a soft coral would be like eating a spoonful of jelly with toothpicks in it. Soft corals also have very strong toxins or poisons in their tissue. The most commonly seen soft corals in this part of the reef are the elephantia and spaghetti soft corals. Their names describe how they look. Elephantia soft corals are large drab olive green. Spaghetti corals look like clusters of thick noodles waving in the current. Corals that are alive and healthy are usually beige or brown. It is rare to see corals that are bright blue or purple. The coral's brown colour is actually the colour of a single-celled plant called zooxanthellae that lives in the coral tissue. This relationship between corals and this plant or algae is very special. It is a symbiotic relationship in which both the corals and the algae benefit. The algae gets a place to live where it will not get eaten, and the corals get sugar and carbohydrate nutrients from the algae. They are found throughout the Pacific Ocean. In normal conditions, they play an important role on the reef by eating fast-growing corals, which allows slower-growing corals to grow. But during some years, populations of crown-of-thorns starfish explode, and they end up eating all the corals in the entire reef area. The corals should, in time, grow back.
Huge reef.
In the late 1990s, Green Island suffered a huge crown-of-thorns starfish outbreak. There were an estimated 2 million starfish around this reef. As a result, much of the coral was eaten. What you can see today is how the reef is recovering from the effect of that event. Keep a close lookout. You may see a green turtle. There are several resident ones here at Green Island. They like it here because of the seagrass beds around the island. Seagrass is very special. It is nearly identical to the grass in your backyard, but has evolved to life underwater. The seagrass beds around Green Island help hold the sand together, especially in storms. Without them, there would be a lot more erosion around the island. We are now going to an area to feed some fish. This is a great opportunity for you to take some pictures because there will be a lot of fish activity. Our fish feeding is done under strict guidelines. We must abide by these guidelines as part of our Great Barrier Reef Marine Park permit conditions. And we use special fish feeding pallets that have been approved by marine parks. Your driver will now point out and identify some of the fish living here at Green Island and answer any questions you may have.
Submarine. These the eyes, man. It's same, no? These are same bike. Huge.
Alrighty guys, now as you can see we are at a fish feeding area now. So guys, I'll head upstairs quickly. I'll go tie up, make sure we'll, sorry, not tie up. Chuck in the fish food and come back downstairs and have a chat to you about all the fish that we are seeing at the moment.
The food.
They were crazy.
Alrighty guys, now you may have noticed a large black predatory fish following the semi-submarine throughout the trip today. Now guys, that's what we call a giant trevally, or GT for short. There was one just on the left hand side a moment ago, but guys, keep your eyes open. We do spot those ones quite often. Now those giant trevallies do grow about full size in about 3 or 4 years, on average growing up to about 60 centimetres in length, but that has actually been recorded at about 170 centimetres. There he is now, once again on the left hand side there guys. Now those giant trevallies, they can also swim up to about 100 kilometers per hour at a quick speed burst and hunting. So quite a powerful predator fish, that one guys. And he does dominate most of the fish out here in this area of the reef. So once again guys, known as a giant trevally, or GT for short. Now folks, another fish that is actually related to that giant trevally, it is that silverfish with the little black spots all over his body. Now folks, that's known as what we call a tea-leaf trevally, a little bit more common around this area than the GT, but also growing quite as large and swimming quite as fast. Now we're not seeing them at the moment, or too many guys, but if we do see them, I will point it out for you.
I like my dream.
Now guys, you may have already noticed our most common fish down here today. Probably the two most common ones today actually guys. It is those small blue and yellow fish, and also those silver fish with the blue scales. Now those small blue and yellow fish guys are what we call a yellow-tailed fusilier. As you can see, a little bit more of a smaller fish compared to the other ones around here. So they do like to swim in larger groups. Now the reason for that, the more of them, less chance they do have of being eaten by those larger predatory fish. So once again guys, known as a yellow-tailed fusilier. Now are those silverfish guys with the blue scales that I just mentioned a moment ago, they're known as what we call a spangled emperor. Now guys, may have heard those ones before, very popular eating fish, quite a lot on the left hand side there. Now guys, looks like they're being fed again. Once again, may have seen those ones before guys, on your restaurant menu. But lucky for these guys, we're in a marine park, as the CD mentioned guys. We're not allowed to fish out here. If you were caught fishing out here on the Great Barrier Reef, fines are up to about $10,000. So one very expensive fish and chips guys, keep that one in mind. But once again guys, known as a spangled emperor. Now guys, did anyone notice those large plate-like looking fish, very flat fish? Now guys, they are what we call a batfish, and they are a little bit of a scavenger of the ocean. Once again, so those are large plate-like looking fish that's silver, black and yellow. Now those ones a little bit of a scavenger of the ocean. They will try and eat anything they possibly can. So guys, if you ever walk into a restaurant, see that one on your menu, make sure you turn straight back around. Not a nice eating fish at all, that one. Once again known as a batfish. Now we do get quite a large variety of different sorts of fish out here guys. I will point out one. We're not seeing it at the moment. Like I say guys, I will be pointing out another one. We're not seeing it at the moment, but if you are snorkeling today, doing the glass bottom boat even now, or walking along the jetty, you may notice a parrotfish. Guys, that's that brightly coloured fish, ones with the beak-like teeth. Now guys, those ones, they do usually like to swim in a group of females to one dominant male. Now guys, if something happens to that dominant male, something bad happens, the larger female actually changes into a male itself within 2 weeks. So quite a smart fish, that one. And then once again known as a parrotfish. Now guys, unfortunately, no you're right. It does look like we are heading back to the Big Cat now. So guys, just like to say thanks on behalf of the Big Cat crew. Myself and Sam upstairs for coming out with us today. Now guys, if anyone is heading, everyone is heading back on the Big Cat this afternoon. So guys, just make sure you are back on board around about 3:30 for that 3:45 departure. Like I say guys, we're heading back in a moment, so I will head upstairs. Once we do get back, I'll go tie up, make sure we're all safe and secure. Then I'll come back downstairs to let you know when it is safe to jump up. Guys, are there any questions at all? No questions? No worries. Thanks for that guys. Sorry? Yeah. Not so much more. Yeah, today with the visibility is, and we know the rough weather and the cold is making it very murky. Not too much, but fish is usually good. We see quite a lot because they come right up to the semi-surface.
The coral is, it looks like always green.
Green? Is it actually more natural colour for the, yeah, more beige or brown colours are quite rare, but yeah.
Can't see if you have wrong or something.
A bit hard. Usually Sunday is really good. Some days, yeah, some days. But because, you know, it's as well, a bit murky at the moment, so yeah, not as much.
분분나크에 마무리도 어떤 또 너무 많은 거